Since the axe has been released for thieves, there's been a lot of controversy because even though there is quite a bit of counterplay due to the range requirements and projectile reflect, axes are generally not that interactive to play against. So this is what I think the best version of the Axe Thief is for PvP and World vs. World. So the build that I use is full Marauders in World vs. World with the Scholar Rune for the highest amount of burst, though we could go for more with Berserker stats, but we really need the Vitality, and the extra precision is really nice because we're doing multi-hitting bursts, and that means we want every single hit to crit. And we get extra synergy from the crit strikes with Practice Tolerance, so it's pretty nice to have Marauders anyways. Then for the Axe Pistol, we want to have a pistol because pistol is the power version, right? If you want to use a Condi build, then you're using the dagger, but I feel like you've got better options for dagger. So we want to go for a pistol power build. And with the pistol, we want to have blood and air sigils. That's just the most damage to me, so I go for that. And then energy cleansing on the sword and dagger. Sword and dagger is more of a utility pick and for mobility, because otherwise you don't really have that much mobility with this build. So we go for the Relic of Phoebe because we don't really have any way to remove Immobilize reliably other than just shadow stepping out or Signet of Agility. So you can use the Relic of Phoebe, which with your Channeled Vigor, which we really need because we can't go for the Withdraw heal because we need to get the extra dodges, right? The evade frame on Withdraw is not exactly the same as the dodge because we want to use the bound dodge, and the bound dodge is really important for getting stealth on this build. So we really need the extra dodges from Channeled Vigor, and we can remove movement inhibiting conditions with the Relic of Phoebe and get some swiftness as well because we don't have trickery. So yeah, the PvP set, I've got full Berserker, Vampirism Rune, Compounding, and Exploitation. They just do the most damage, and Energy Cleansing on the sword dagger. So the reason why we need swiftness is because we don't have trickery to give us swiftness. And why don't I have trickery? Well, because when you steal as a thief, generally you want to do your burst. As a Deadeye, it's like you steal and then you're just spamming your damage and then you burst afterwards. But as a Daredevil, you want to steal at the same time as your burst, because with trickery, you're dazing the target when you steal. And if you don't immediately burst them, someone who's dazed can only dodge, right? They can't use skills while they're dazed, so they're going to dodge. So using steal into your axe burst, which has a delay to it, is just going to be a tell. It's not really great. And the boon rip that we have in trickery is nice, but we're going to replace that with the Rending Shade trait in Shadow Arts. So basically all the traits here is like damage modifiers. We want to go for as much damage as possible. And so basically everything is chosen for damage, except Shadow's Embrace is going to give us some, condition cleanse, and Marauder's Resilience is going to give us some health, but everything else is pretty much just damage. What we need to be paying attention to here is Rending Shade. So whenever you use a sneak attack, which on Axe is a really heavy hitting ability, we will steal 2 boons, and if the target has no boons, it'll fear nearby, but it's not really going to happen too often. But mostly we want to be having the stolen boons effect, because whenever we use the sneak attack, which does a lot of damage, you can see it spinning on the ground vertically like that, right? And if we use the Converge 3 skill, it'll do that again. So we do a sneak attack twice without having to go in stealth twice, which is really nice because there's a reveal, right? And that limits the amount of sneak attacks you can do. So we get the value of Shadow Siphoning, of Rending Shade twice if we can hit them with the Converge. And the sneak attack will not go on the ground if it doesn't land, so you really want to make sure that that lands. And then just Converge it, you get that boon rip again. So you're stealing 2 boons each time that happens, which is 4 every combo. So it's a lot of boon rip, and that's why this build can really delete those bunkery builds. So yeah, the Rending Shade is really important. But how are we going to be using the Axe Burst here? So generally we want to use a 5 axe combo. So right, you throw out your axes, and then when you've got 5 axes is generally when you want to do it, but 6 is ideal. 5 mainly because you immobilize when you hit with 5, but you don't need to have 5 really. As long as you have your sneak attack, that's usually good enough because that does so much damage. Yeah, you can see the 5k. It's pretty good. So yeah, just as long as you have the sneak attack out and you converge that, that's usually good enough. But we can also do the 2 skill to get more axes and then do the converge, and that will do a lot of damage. So basically, yeah, that's the rotation. You do the sneak attack, 2, get another 1 or 2, wait for them to dodge, then you converge, that will immobilize, and if you really wanted to at that point, you could use sword 2 and then impact strike in and finish them, because the issue with the axe, right, is it takes a little bit of time for it to cook. So if I hit them with the burst and then I have to finish them off, I give them a little bit more time before, you know, the next burst is. So the sword can kind of finish them off, or you can just stay in axe and go for another burst. But there's a little bit of counterplay to the axe because you need to be within 900 range to the target to converge those axes. And the axes have a little bit more range than 900, but essentially if the axes are like over here, let's try that out. So if we put the axes over here, and then I'm in range of the target over here, I'm really close to the target, but the axes aren't close, they're not in range, right? So essentially the range of the axes is the same. I think it's the same range as 900. It should be a little bit more than 900, but yeah, if the axes are, you're in between the axes and your target, they're generally not going to hit. So you don't want to be building up your axes too much because you're giving your enemy more time to get away from the axes. So generally just use a sneak attack 2 and then just converge them immediately, and that's good enough. You don't really need to set up, but you can if you really have the luxury to do that. So that's pretty much how the build works. Yeah, it's just use your sneak attack with the stealth that you get from black powder and dodge in that, and then just converge it. And if you get pressured, you can use the amount of stealth that you get and the channeled vigor to get more dodges. And also because in World versus World and in PvP, you can port to targets that are far away from you. You can use the Infiltrator Signet and the Infiltrator Strike to disengage sometimes. Though in World versus World, I would use the Infiltrator Signet, and in PvP, I would probably go with the Blinding Powder because there's not too many targets in PvP as there are in World versus World. So generally, Blinding Powder is going to be more reliable as a way to just get out more sneak attacks and just as a self peel. So yeah, that's pretty much the idea. And I also am just trying out Impact Strike. You can go for Dagger Storm if you really want. It's probably a little bit more reliable, but it is a 90-second cooldown versus Impact Strike, which is a 30-second cooldown. And if you go for the Relic of Ice is actually pretty good with the Impact Strike because it does a lot of damage. So if you get the Immobilize here, we're going to do a 5 combo here. Immobilize it and then do Impact Strike, and you can see it does a lot of damage, the Relic of Ice. So you can go for that, but I like the feed because it gives a little bit more survivability. Yeah, it's doing 2k per hit, the Relic of Ice, and it's on the same cooldown as Impact Strike. So you can go for that for a little bit more one-shot potential, but Relic of Feed if you're like outnumbered and you don't want to die to an Immobilize. So yeah, those are your options there, but that's pretty much the build there. We're going to go into the gameplay, so stick around for that. But if you enjoy this content, then please like the video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one when I try out Pistol Ellie.
Hold on to your points. Seize theirs. Windmill capture. captured. Mansion captured. Enemy captured the windmill. Clock tower captured. Windmill captured. Enemy captured the mansion. the mansion. Clock tower captured. Mansion captured.